Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of It's Cheaper Than Therapy podcast. I am your host, Roland Kirsten, aka Roll Nice. Um, my co-host is not in studio with me tonight, um, due to the fact that he has some prior engagements. So I'm not gonna hold you guys too long tonight. Just talking about a couple of things that I find important. Um, so again, I'm just in here by myself. I'm glad you guys been commenting and giving me your feedback. I definitely appreciate that, and I'm still asking more people to like, subscribe, share, comment. Man, help me build this thing into something positive that we can all take advantage of. Once I'm able to go live, we're gonna ramp it up to 1,000%. But I definitely want to appreciate everyone's support by far. So first thing I'm gonna talk about, I ain't gonna go long on it. I want y'all to listen to this video and tell me what y'all think. I'm working on getting the video to play behind me. Just working on some technical difficulties, but I will have that worked out sooner than later. But I want y'all to listen to this and tell me what y'all think.
Being the mom of seven, do you think that a woman of multiple children is still capable of finding someone?
First, let me ask you before I make the statement. Do the kids have the same father?
Yes, they do.
Okay, well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Okay? So this is hold on. We're talking about seven children. Okay? This is no offense to you because it's absolutely possible for you to find a quality man. What makes it a tad bit difficult is that you have to find a man who has the financial footing to take care of you and seven children. And then you also have to be able to find a man who is going to be willing to come in and create structure in that household. Seven children on one person is a lot to create structure in. So there's a lot that this man is going to have to come in and do. On top of that, creating a secure space for you. When you have to be a mother and you have to take care of most of the majority of the things that happen in a house, are you going to have the ability to be able to love this man in a way that he needs to be loved, in a way that registers as love to him when you have to love seven other individuals? You're going to need a man who can love those children as his own. Yeah, that is a huge responsibility to put on a person who does not have those children. Those are not his kids. But if I were you, no disrespect, I'll try to work it out with the father. No, here we go. Hold on.
All right, so it's a young lady that was standing up talking about being 33 years old, having seven kids, and would she be able to find love in that situation that she's in? Now, that is definitely an interesting concept. It's great that all the kids have the same father. And me, I do find being 33 years old and having seven kids, that's a big wow, but nonetheless, much respect that they are all from the same father. That's an awesome thing. So, and they was commenting about finding a man to come in that's going to be willing to deal with her, the seven kids, and taking care of them and willing to take on that financial burden. Now, that's a big question. Taking on a financial burden by yourself with one or two kids is big. So when you coming into this new relationship, taking on a woman that has seven kids, that's major. That's a big number. Not saying that you can't love them kids as a stepfather and you're not going to work hard to try to provide for them and their mother to make a better life for everyone that is involved. But seven's a big number. They were also making comments about, would she have time to love that man, the way he needs to be loved, because she gotta be mindful those are her seven kids, and before he gets to the point whether he's gonna accept them or not, that's a long ways down the road, because in the beginning, you gotta make time for him, and it's tough to make time for anything when you have seven kids. And I speak that from the man and the woman's perspective, even though she is a single mother. that's a big pill to swallow. So I mean, do is it possible for her to find someone that's willing to take on that responsibility of the 7 kids, and not saying he has to be their father because they already have a father, but to find love and to get into a relationship with this woman, he know he's gonna have to be involved with these children at some level. Doesn't necessarily always mean how it's gonna be a high level, but it's gonna be some level that he has to take on that level of responsibility. And as they get deeper into the relationship, he's also going to have to bear some of the financial burden, especially if once they get to a point where they may move in together or they may get married. So that's gonna be something that's on him that he has got to deal with. So, do I believe she can find love? Sure. I mean, there's a man out there that's willing to take on that. Not all men are, because that's a big ask. You know, some men don't even want to bear the responsibility of dating a woman with 1 or 2 kids. So 7 is an even bigger number, you know, and it comes with its own set of issues as it stands. So, you know, going on with that, you know, that's a big one. Like she said, she got to find someone that's willing to take on the financial burden and take on the burden of being in that situation as a whole. Now, the thing that I found very interesting at the end of it, the young lady that was hosting the podcast said that, hey, it might be better for you to try to make it work out with the father. And unfortunately, I couldn't get the video up, but her facial expression was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Now, that brings me to my next point. So, what about this man? And I'm speaking from both sides. Like, there may be something about him that's horrible, but then I'm asking myself, what about this man that is so horrible that you laid down and had 7 kids with him and you willing not to make that work? Now, again, if he's abusive to her or the kids, I totally understand, you know, but I would have to ask, wouldn't she notice that, you know, before 7 kids later? That's a long time to be with someone, you know, 7 kids, because you're thinking about the time of procreation, 9 months, and then the children being born, how much time in between each child. Now, if she was fortunate to have, you know, twins, a couple of sets of twins or triplets, whatever, okay, that's a different story. But the time it takes to have 7 kids by the time you turn 33, that means you've been with this man quite some time if you didn't have quadruplets or triplets or twins on multiple occasions. So you don't want to work it out with him. What about him is you not telling the whole story? Because that's a big part of that equation. Or what about yourself? You're not telling about that whole story, because like I said, that's 7 kids later, and you had to been with this man for quite some time to have 7 kids. And now you are going to ask another man to come in to love you, which is nothing wrong with asking that question, and to love them 7 kids, which is, again, nothing wrong with that question as well. But that is a big, big thing to ask. So, like I said, the thing that's the red flag to me is when they asked her, well, won't you try to work it out with the father? She shook her head and made facial expressions in disgust. And I'm like, well, you wasn't disgusted when you had 7 babies with him. Now, like I said, if he was physically and emotionally abusive to her and the kids, then I understand why she had to get out and why she's moving on. But like I said, that red flag should have been noticed long before you got to child number 7. So that, you know, that brings me to the point of, you know, why do we stay in these situations um, for the kids? I mean, kids are wonderful. Kids can make us love again. Kids can make us, do a lot of things because we endure for them and want to give them the best of everything. But looking at that standpoint of how do you find love as a woman with 7 kids, I can't speak to that, but I would say it was equally difficult to find that as a man, a single father with 7 kids. There are women out here that don't want to deal with a man with multiple kids, or some women don't like to date men with kids, period. But a man with 7 kids is, man, like I don't. There are some women that would take on that motherly instinct and jump right in and make that a family, and then there's some women who will run from it, like it's the plague. So, in the same thing, vice versa for the men. There are some men that's willing to come in there and create that structure and take that on and make that a family. And there's some men that's going to run from it because, again, it's great that they were all from one kid, but what happens in the instance that she got 7 kids, but she got multiple fathers? Now that creates a whole nother a can of worms, so to speak, of the things you have to deal with, and the same thing for women. Like I said, I'm going to try to speak on both sides of it. For women, that creates a can of worms for them as well, because now you got to deal with multiple mothers, which that can be hectic all in itself. People have attitudes. People sometimes dislike the fact that their children are being presented to someone new that their child's mother or child's father is now dating. So now you got to deal with that drama on top of dealing with getting the kids to come around and warm up to you, because sometimes even the kids can make that difficult, especially if they're of age, to make things difficult and hard on you. So that's that. I found that real to be a little bit interesting when I saw it today, because it all comes down to relationships and what we're looking for, what we're willing to and not willing to tolerate in this dating world. And me personally, dating a woman with 7 kids would be tough. I mean, dating a woman with 1 or 2 kids is tough because, like I said, you got to find time for that man, and kids take up a lot of time. 1 or 2 take up time, so I can imagine the kind of time that 7 can take up from, for her to spend time with someone and get to know someone, because you don't want to bring anybody around your kids too early. So how do you spend time with that person, when you have multiple children like that, unless you got family members and friends that's willing to step in and help you out and babysit while you go out on these dates, or spend quality time with this new person that you want to get to know. So that's my little 2 cents on a situation like that, because again, the dating world right now is crazy. There's so many different things that's mixed up in it, so many different scenarios that get played out, from kid situation to financial situation, what women expect as far as what they want from a man money wise. All those things come into play in this dating world. Like I said, that one was very interesting to me, because now you involve kids and you're not involving 1 or 2 kids. That's 7. I know I'm repeating myself, but 7's a big number when it comes to kids, when you're starting over. Now, if you are happily married and y'all together and y'all raising them 7 kids to adults, then that's different. But stepping out into the dating world as a single mother or single father with 7 kids, I'm almost sure it's going to come with its set of challenges and setbacks. So, again, that's my little tidbit on that. I'm going to switch a little bit. I don't want to get too, into that too much, because that had its own thing. But this week, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to talk a little real estate since my co-host is not here. Since I am a licensed real estate agent. I can help you buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate. So I do home buyers workshops. I haven't done one in 2024 yet. I'm working on that right now. So I'm going to do it a little bit virtually tonight, And again, I'm a realtor. Most people are like, well, if you're going to talk about real estate, you should be in a certain tie, whatever. I'm not, I'm a realtor. I'm experienced. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing it for 7 years now. I'm not perfect. I don't know everything, but I'm good. But at the same time, I know people like, well, I don't see you closing a lot of houses, whatever. I'm a bivocational realtor. I also have another job. I'm a car salesman. So, I try to fit everything in and with what I got going on. So what I'm going to talk to you guys about tonight is the home buying process and give you some, some things that I got, some tidbits that I can help you with. So we're going to start this process. I got this going on behind me. I apologize about the glare, but I'm going to go through each bullet point and talk to you about the process of home buying. Because I know people are not thinking about buying homes right now because the interest rates are high. But again, there is things I can tell you that I'm going to tell you as we go through this that's going to make it beneficial to you and make sense. So the process of buying a home, the first thing I always tell people what you want to do is have a pre-approval done. Whether you go through your bank or contact a mortgage loan broker or even if you don't have anyone that like that, if you got a real estate agent that personally, that can help you, talk to them because we have lenders that we could recommend. We know their programs not to the level that they know them, but we know what they can and can't do. So like I said, the first thing you want to do is get a pre-approval by contacting your bank or financial institution. That would work out so much better because that way, getting that pre-approval, it lets you and your agent know your buying power. So, and you want to do that before you even ask to start looking at homes or, because I can go out here and show you a $1.2 million home that you're going to fall in love with, but you can only afford a $250,000 home. So that pre-approval is our really starting point because until I know what you can buy, your buying power, we kind of spinning wheels. And some people may say, well, hey, with the interest rates where they are, I can't buy as much as I would normally can based off my income. And that brings me to, the point of with that pre-approval, you know where you stand. And then that lender's going to give you options. There's options with the interest rates where they are, where you can buy down your interest rate to lower it. So even though our interest rates may be at like 7.1, I think 7.2 might be where they were this morning. You could buy points, and what points are is you're able to use cash to pay down 0.125% of your interest rate. Now it's capped at you can buy it down up to 3% of the current market rate. But that's great, because if you had a 7.1, to buy your rate down to a 4.1 or 4.2 could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest over the life of your loan. So like I said, don't be afraid to get that pre-approval, and don't be afraid to think that you might can only afford 250 and the price of homes are going so much higher and your interest rate's high, because there's a way around that, and there's different things you can do. Now, once you done got your pre-approval, you want to find a licensed real estate agent. Now, with real estate agents, people, you need to understand, real estate agents, we're professionals. We went to school, we passed, we paid a lot of money to know what we know, and do what we do. Now, some people like to go out there and buy a house without a real estate agent. I tell you, that's an option that you have, but I promise you, it's not going to work out as well as it can without having a licensed, experienced real estate agent at your side. Because our job is to give you the expertise that you need to get through that process and not get, used up. Because the goal in the real estate agent for the banks is to make money off your interest. People's like, well, I don't want to have a 30-year mortgage. Again, that comes from talking to your agent as well as the lender. There's 15-year mortgages, there's 20-year mortgages, there's 30-year mortgages. But again, finding that licensed real estate agent is going to help you make that best decision based off your circumstances. And people, please understand, as agents, it's almost impossible for us to rip you off. We can't. We cannot rip you off, because one, we do not get paid until you close on your home. So ripping you off, how? What am I taking from you that can rip you off? It's just not possible. There's no money I can take from you that would even facilitate me being able to scam you or rip you off. Now, there are scammers out there that post fake houses and things of that nature, but as a real estate agent, it's almost impossible, and we suffer big penalties and fines if we're reported to the LLR or the License Bureau or the CMLS. Now, our responsibility is to you to make sure you have the best home buying experience that you have, and make sure you come out on top. Because one of the things I always would tell anyone, the greatest gift my buyer or client can give me is a referral, because that's a lot of the real estate business is referrals. Because, if I don't do a good job with you, you're not going to tell anybody about me. Just like if I don't, as a car salesman, if I don't do good at selling cars, I'm not going to sell any cars to anyone else. So my job is to make sure you have the best process ever. Now, next is once you got your pre-approval, you know what you can afford, finding a home. Now, finding a home, there's twofold. Now, there's what we call new construction, and there's called resale. So new construction are what you see popping up in these new communities, the new houses from builders like Great Southern, D.R. Horton, McEwen, Stanley Martin. That's your new construction. Now, even if you go see this home, it may be built already and you buying it, but no one's ever lived in it. So you are getting something brand new that no one has ever lived in. Now, resale is your home that's been built, your older homes, your existing homes that's at least maybe 1-2 people have lived in at some point in time that are out there on the market. So when you're finding a home, it can be an adventure. It can take some time, but when you make that decision as a buyer to buy a home, know what you want. Know about your how many bedrooms you desire. Not doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna always get it, but how many bathrooms you desire. What side of town you a particular area you want to live in. Whether you want a big yard, front and backyard. Whether you want a garage or not. Make sure you know those things up front. Not saying you can get all those things, but it does help that process. Knowing your desires and wants. And people, be mindful of home fatigue, just like anything else. When you start looking at 20, 30, 40 houses, they can start to run together, they can start to look the same. So you might want to get your best top 3, top 5, I would say top 7 at most, and go through those, view those. Even if you got to view them more than once, make those get your top 7 choices, and be mindful that, like anything else, you're not the only one looking at these homes. So, go through them, see it once or twice, see what you like, your likes and dislikes, and make your best decision what you're willing to take because always understand that your first home purchase doesn't always have to be your dream home or your forever home. There's starter homes that you buy, to build your credit up, to get that first experience, or you may be down the line in your career, get raises and make more money where you can afford more homes. So just go think about that when your first home doesn't have to be the forever or the dream home. Now, next, once we find your home, we're going to make an offer and hopefully go into contract. Now, that's where the bulk of my job starts outside of finding you a home. My job is to negotiate things in your benefit terms as far as seller concessions if you're buying a home, or if I'm representing you as a seller, buyer concessions, etc., etc. So we write up our offer, we submit it. Now, once we submit it to the seller, we're waiting on them to agree to our terms. Now, they may not always agree. They can counter offer, but be patient. Don't always think it may take a day or two for you to hear something. Don't think that you're not going to get the house because it's taking a couple of days. They're looking at dozens of offers. Back when COVID first happened, when the market was crazy and the interest rates were in the twos, there was agents who would tell me they're getting 50 to 60 to 70 offers on one house. So you got to remember, they got to go through those individually and come up with the best one for their client. Now, when you and the seller agree to all terms, now we're under a ratified contract. Now, that's a wonderful thing for you. Ratified contract means that you about, I say 70% there. 70% there because you and the seller have agreed on the price, terms, seller concessions, buyer concessions. Outside of anything going wrong, you're 70% a homeowner. There's a couple of steps to go, but you're on your way. Now, after we get a ratified contract, our biggest thing is inspections. Now, people like, what are inspections? So, like I said, you either buying a new construction or you're buying a resale. Inspections are where we get someone to go in and inspect everything from the HVAC, which is the heating and air unit, to the roof, to the structure, and the cases where they're inspecting the plumbing, the electrical. It's pretty much an overall inspection of the house to make sure it's sound. There's termite inspection, make sure termites are not eating the house and devaluing it. In the rare occasions if the house has a chimney with a fireplace, we do chimney inspections. Now, inspection does help me with counter offers. It helps with seller concessions as far as repairs. Now, this information um, lets us know what needs to be done, what the seller needs to do, so that way, we can continue on with the process. Now, with your inspections, you're going to get a major and a minor report. Like I said, you're going to get your home inspector is going to do the major and the minor report. Major things are things that could either allow you to walk away without any repercussions as a buyer, or a seller may be like, hey, I'll take care of them. Or if they choose not to take care of them, they could do it in price reductions. Your minor reports are your things, a couple of paint chips, scratches, screw holes. That's minor stuff that we're not necessarily going to burden the seller with unless, there's major issues. Like I said, the HVAC, that's your heat and air. We want to make sure that's functioning properly, because we're in the South. No one wants to buy a home with the heating system not working when it gets a little cold in February, or when we have those hot summers, the air's not working properly. So we'll know what needs to be taken care of right there. Now, the inspection process has evolved over the years. I know home inspectors who got the drones that fly up to look at the roofs, make sure they're sound and sturdy. I got inspectors that go under to make sure the concrete is sturdy. So home inspections are needed. We're not even, unless you willing to buy as is and you're doing a flip property. And even with buying as is, you can do inspections to protect your financial, to protect your finances, because you don't want to buy something as is without it having inspected and then got $100,000 worth of foundation issues. Now you done spent $200,000 on a house and they got $100,000 worth of foundation issues. So that's why inspections are a must, even on new construction. And when you watch these homes get built, and you be like, well, it's a brand new home, it shouldn't need to be inspected. Builders aren't perfect. They make mistakes. Things are not done. Now, the wonderful thing about doing inspections on new construction is, one, you could do it before the home is built. And a lot of time with new construction, if you're building your home from the ground up, they'll bring you in at different points of the process of building, and you can go over those things and maybe inspect that in at a time before the walls go up, before everything had happened, and then once the house is built, most builders give you a 1-year warranty from the date that you take possession of the home to have any repairs done. So with that 1-year warranty, you're going to have another inspection about a month 11, and have it redone, so that builder is responsible for any repairs, because these houses are settled. They're going to settle on their foundations. So that's why it's important to have those. Now, after all inspections are done, all repairs are done, now we just sitting back and waiting on the attorneys and the banks to crunch all the numbers and come up with closing costs and what's going to need seller concessions, doing balance sheets. Now, during this process of waiting for closing day, I'm about to say something that's very important. During this process of waiting for closing day, the bank is still checking on you. Underwriters are still verifying documents, verifying things that you told them. And on new construction, there could be multiple credit pulls during that process to make sure nothing pops up on your credit. So this is one of my tips, that I'm going to tell you about while you're going through that final processes after inspections, everything done. People, please, I beg of you, do not do anything with your credit while this process is going on. I have had deals fall through. People have lost homes that they loved and wanted and desired and dreamed due to not being upfront or going out and doing something foolish like purchasing a car, purchasing furniture on credit. So while you're going through this process, not saying you can't buy things, but understand down that process, cash is king. Do not, I repeat, do not do anything with your credit or have your credit pulled by anyone during that process. Now, and there's only one person that can pull your credit during that process outside of the bank, and that is insurance companies. And that is for homeowners insurance. So if the bank sees an inquiry, if the underwriter, sees an inquiry from an insurance company for home insurance, they kind of understand that you're shopping around for quotes for homeowners insurance. So it won't create a big thing. It won't cause your credit score to drop, and it won't cause your deal to fall through and you lose out on a home that you wanted. Now, when I tell people, even with that, start with the company that you currently have your car insurance with, because they shouldn't have to pull your credit at all. You already have an account with them. You already have a relationship with them. So they should be able to quote you on a homeowner's insurance policy easy and give you bundled discounts. So again, I repeat, do not do anything with your credit while you're going through that underwriting process after you under contract and everything has been agreed to, because we're trying to make it the closing day. Now, what closing day is the day you sign all your documents with a closing attorney, take possession of your keys and anything that, garage door clickers, whatever. You sign your keys. Money is being transferred from banks to make the process go through. Closing day is the day you dream of. That's the day everyone dreams of, because you're done. Again, until you get to that day, closing day, and even a few days after or a few weeks after, still try not to do anything with your credit to make sure everything is safe and sound. Because, again, a deal can fall through, by you tampering with your credit while you're going through that process. Now, people are like, well, is that it? That sounds like not that hard of a process. It's not hard of a process to buy a home. It's an adventure, and it has its hurdles and valleys, and it has its peaks and your good days and your bad days. Throughout that whole part, there's a couple of things in there, whether the negotiating part, which is my job, whether you get to keep the refrigerator or the stove or certain appliances that they may not want to convey, the seller may not want to convey. And, part of the buying the home process, I try to make it fun. Anyone that's buying a home, if you can, to get some laughs about that process, there's a movie called Moving with Richard Pryor. Came out in the mid to late 80s. Go watch that and understand what I say about a seller could be a jerk sometimes, and the buyer could be a jerk, and understand about what appliances convey and what appliances don't convey, what the seller can and can't take. It's a movie, but a lot of that is real. It can happen, and real estate agents have seen it happen. But again, this is what I give to you. I'm doing it, virtually, the home buying process. Again, I will do a home buyer workshop in person. I just gotta find the time and the venue and things of that nature. Like I said, I'm bivocational. I have a second job, so I'm sometimes tied up with other things. But I will be doing one in 2024, and trust me, when I do one, I will make all that information available to everyone via this podcast. You know, and people like, if anybody want to know why am I talking about real estate, on and the name of the podcast is Cheaper Than Therapy. Understand, real estate is, it can drive you mad. From you being a buyer, it can frustrate you. From the real estate agent, it can frustrate you because I'm not just a realtor. People think just us as realtors, we just sell houses and that. I am a financial advisor, even though I'm not licensed. I am a therapist, even though I'm not licensed. I am a marriage counselor, even though I'm not licensed. All those things come into being a real estate, and people think you may think I'm making it up. I'm not. I'm not. You are a life coach, a relationship coach. You are everything as a realtor. And I enjoy it. I enjoy every step of it. So make no mistakes that I enjoy it. Again, I fell off because I had other obligations, but I still do it. I still have clients that I'm working with. You know, it's just when it's their time, it'll be their time and you're going to see it. So that's my little home buyer workshop via the podcast. Since, you know, my co-host's not here, I wanted to do that, you know, and talk about that topic I talked about, the girl with the 7 children. You know, I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not trying to hold anybody long. Again, I want to give you the guys the information for the podcast. The email is cheaperthantherapyshow@gmail.com. Please, people, email your comments, or the phone number is 803-509-3477. You can text me your comments. You can go comment on my videos. This will be number 9. Go back and comment, watch the videos, comment. Go back, subscribe, like, share. Like I said, learn something, because the videos are all positive. I don't think we've done anything negative to be offensive to anybody since I've been doing this for the last 2 months. So go back, watch from the beginning. I understand people are saying they're too long, they're too time consuming. But again, we as people will sit down and watch an hour of foolery, but you don't want to listen to an hour of positivity, because we don't talk negativity on this podcast. We don't do that. We may talk fun, we may laugh, and may make jokes, but we're not going to do anything negative or speak disparaging on anybody or paint any of us in a bad light. And again, people, like I said, with the email, cheaperthantherapyshow.com, business owners, my black business owners, send me your information. You can send it by text to the phone number, send it by email as well. I'm really want to, you know, give shout outs to my black business owners. Send your website link, send your phone number to your business, send a little bit of information about what you do, and then we'll confer, and I'll get you up and I'll shout you out. I'm trying to do that every episode. At least for me, I want one black male and one black female business owner to send me your information. The email again is cheaperthantherapyshow@gmail.com. The phone number is 803-509-3477. Again, send me your business information. Send me your website links. I'm going to try to get you shout out. My podcast, you know, it ain't the greatest. It's still growing. It's still getting bigger. But if I can help you by getting your information out to other people, I may know somebody that you may not know that might need your services. So please get that over to me. And again, for anyone that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, hit me up. That phone number is a little bit different. It's 306-4004. That email address is rolandinrealestate@gmail.com. So again, that's Roland, ROLANDIN, realestate@gmail.com. Phone number 803-306-4004. Hit me up there for any real estate needs, questions, concerns, comments, or emotional outbursts. I always like to throw that in there because I know that can drive people crazy. For the podcast, it's cheaperthantherapyshow@gmail.com. Phone number 803-509-3477. You can send me messages through Facebook, through TikTok, through Instagram. You can comment on the episodes themselves with your information. I look at that stuff. We check our emails. I promise you I'll get back to you. It may take a couple of days, but if you reach out to me, I'll try to have it all squared away by the time I post the next episode. So in wrapping up, guys, we had a great month, with Black History Month. We dropped them Black History facts. Thank you for everyone that has supported so far. I asked you guys, keep supporting. Like I said again, go to my YouTube page, subscribe. I'm also on Spotify as well. Subscribe. Also, hit the like button. Hit the little bell so you can get the notifications when I drop my videos and my podcast episodes. Go to TikTok, follow me. Go to Instagram, follow me on Facebook. Help me make this grow, and I promise I'll make it worth you guys' while. You guys are gonna get good content and enjoy it every week. So with that being said, I am signing off. Again, I want to thank everyone for support. cheaperthantherapyshow@gmail.com. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful evening.